Hi there, it's Tommy here, and I want to do a wee bit of talking about jobs. Yeah, welcome to the Politics Show here, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try and convince you that jobs are something that everybody should have. But even though we're in this kind of world of capitalism, we're trying to do it so that there's no unemployment. So this is the idea I have, and it doesn't need to be perfect, this idea, because I know it isn't, but it's happy to... It's open basically to interpretation. I'm happy to have a debate in it, and if you want to put comments on the wall what you think about it, that'd be great as well. Now let's get the sound up a wee bit, and I'll just move this up. There we go, so you should get a full volume there. If it's a wee tiny hiss, it's just encoders, but it'll be fine. The idea we have is this kind of job amnesty, and the way that would work is, we'll just say for example for a week each month, so 1 week each month, 4 or 5 week months, not sure yet, 1 week each month, companies would open their doors to everybody who is unemployed. And remember, people who are working the month before could technically leave their job, or they may get fed up with it eventually, as people do, and then go to this kind of amnesty each week, 1 week a month, and go and get a job. Now the way it would work is, all the businesses couldn't say no to anybody in that 1 week. There's a couple of problems with it you can maybe think of, and I can see what they are, but I've got to try and put a solution to them. And remember, it's a new concept, and it's very much in its infancy, so bear with it. So the way it works is, a company opens its door for a week and says to people, yep, if you want to be a plumber, yeah, you can come and be a plumber. So 3 people go to the company says yes, well, welcome in, there's a tea room, there's the plumbing stuff, there's whatever else, and they start working. However, the company can't afford to pay them, so why would they turn up in the first place? The reason they turn up in the first place is because it gives them choice. What you're doing with people here is you give them choice to actually do what they want to do with their life, rather than being controlled by the kind of the forces of capitalism, i.e. the invisible hand as well. Yeah, the kind of Adam Smith invisible hand. And what's actually happening is, you're looking at the invisible hand and you're thinking, okay, we can see it can guide the market, we can see that it does have some sort of effect, and massive effect in some economic circles, but it's leaving behind it a trail, and that trail is people who cannot get into the economic cycle. That economic cycle is work, employment, based on the capitalistic principles that we have, that the bourgeoisie owns the factory, the labour, the land, and some capital. And the proletariat, the working class guy, doesn't really own anything apart from his skill. And his skill is what he's selling to the company. Now how can people actually sell a skill if there's no jobs out there? That is the fundamental error we have right now in the present day system. If there's no jobs, you're not going to be able to sell your skill. It's almost trying to sell stuff to somebody without any money. Yeah, so if I try to sell you a tin of beans and you've no money, my tin of beans will with me for the rest of my life until you get some money to buy the tins of beans. But eventually that tin of bean will probably get a date anyway. Just like people in jobs, people end up getting to an age you can't work anymore, and what happens then is they retire. And if you're unemployed for X amount of years, people will start to look at you as someone who is not employable, because you don't say basically as if your skills have diminished, your whole thinking process to do with work, your health and safety, rules and regulations, first aid, whatever it may be, has all disappeared and basically fragmented in that period of idleness and dormantation. So my idea is that these companies open their doors 1 week a month. I don't know how long this would last, but you say you did it a year, and people would go in, get the job they want, start working, and if they're on some sort of benefit system, they stay on that for a week or two until they start churning money over for the company. So basically until their worth in that company starts to become profitable for the company, then the company will start paying them wages. There's weaknesses there. There's a strengths and weaknesses with it, and positive and negatives. The strengths are people would get good choice, bit of freedom to do what they want to do. They would get good apprenticeships probably as well, and they would hope there for them. They don't need to kind of sit about for 2 years waiting for something to come along. Yeah, that's a good strength. A weakness would be that 50 people turn up to a call centre, or 50 people turn up to a baker's, say we want a job, and the bakers or the call centre says, oh, we can't take 50 people. Now, this is where the government would have to intervene. Remember in John Stuart Mill's classic kind of harm principle, whenever the situation, whatever it may be, other people or environments and that start to cause harm to the population or the people or a citizen, then the government has a right to intervene. And I'd probably argue in this case, for the sake of utilitarianism, which is bringing the greatest happiness to as many as possible, the old Jeremy Bentham saying, basically I'd be saying, look, open your doors, let them in, and if there is extra people, that's great, because what the government can do is intervene a wee bit and say, okay, there's funding there, you can actually apply for X amount, and it'll be quite a quick turnover. It won't take months to get the funding, and we'll keep you going a wee bit with expansion there. We'll be able to kind of make your business a bit bigger. That'll be your reward at the moment for taking people in, and in the long term you'll have employees, potential employees as well, that you'll be able to kind of put in the payroll once you start churning over a profit. Now there's everything good about that, because you think about the way the banks have went and the way we bailed them out with millions of pounds and so on. We've invested that money in a banking system that is actually more a kind of what's the word for that? It's like a private membership club, yeah. And what we have is we have a bigger problem where people can't really make money to put in a bank anymore half the time. So if we create this opportunity to invest the money into the businesses and create what the governments would call growth, yeah. What we are doing is we're actually creating opportunity, and opportunity, with that opportunity become a bit of freedom comes of it, yeah. And that freedom then churns into a more positive outlook and community spirit. That community spirit then kind of ripple effects across cities, towns, villages, and it begins to kind of put a more fuzzy feeling, as the team builders would call it, into that environment, which is basically the UK, United Kingdom, which in itself is a PLC company. Yeah, it's a money-making exercise. We could easily say this is a country, but it's really a business. Yeah, we trade services to all over the world. We used to trade industry all over the world, but that's kind of stopped. And for the John Foster's kind of micro-intervention, that's shifted from light industrial in the first stage, then it closed mines and that down obviously, then it moves to the next stage, and then the third stage this kind of modern kind of call centre, service centre, banking sector kind of type place. My idea is open up these businesses, open up these massive institutions, let people go in and try their hand at something, and they might not be brilliant at it, but train them. It gives opportunities, it opens the door, there is ways to pay it. There's plenty of money out there, there's government money getting put in benefits right now, so why don't we kind of let people keep the benefits a bit longer, support them a bit longer till they get into the working mode. There are no jobs, there are no new set of businesses you've got to hire. They can't hire, they can't afford it. So let's the government now, let them intervene a wee bit, let them throw some money at it once they see an interest in certain sectors. If certain sectors are beginning to grow and overpopulate, that's something that can be looked at. Maybe these sectors can be fragmented so they become something different. There's always evolution involved in these business sectors, and money to be made. When there's people interested in making money, then money is there. And maybe we are in a capitalist society where our churnation or our churning of money is very slow right now, and that's why we don't have this massive growth we should be having for this kind of fifth richest country as the UK is meant to be. It might even be sixth now, who knows. But certainly this would work in America. This would work anywhere in the world that has the capitalist type system. Cuba, it wouldn't work there because it's more communist, yeah. It's been like that for a lot of years since Castro took over. But I mean, it's certainly most capital countries it would work. It probably wouldn't work in China as well. If China don't even have something similar already, I was quite surprised, because they have a massive economy, same with India. I think it was 6% growth in why the last counts. May have reduced a wee bit to be 4% with the recent kind of inflation and all the economic stuff and that, but it's certainly a big growth country compared to the UK. So what I'm saying is, let people come in to companies who open them, open the door, let them in, give them a job to do within about maybe an hour or two, and just get on with it. I think that's a reasonable suggestion. It might not be the most perfect idea, but it's certainly a reasonable suggestion, and it could be something that would work. And there's none of this pilot in it. You'd need the whole of Britain to open up their doors. So if I wanted a job in a real radio station, I would go and I would just say I would like a job, and they would let me in, and they would give me something to do until I was able to churn my own money around, make them a profit. So there's my idea with that. So that's mean jobs. The present system, what we have right now is we have governments trying to strategise against the welfare state to cut back these kind of first order needs that Robert Inglehart, post-materialist, inventor of that. He was one of the first ones to say, yeah, let's give people food, shelter, housing, healthcare. If you give them that, then they'll start to worry about or start thinking about these second order material needs, and it goes down that line. And it also, if you look at William Beveridge with his 5 giants and how the Beveridge report actually came up with all the kind of National Health Service housing based on the 5 giants, which are squalor, disease, ignorance, and so on, and it's pretty much to cure them. That was then. So there is hope for like these new pioneering ideas, because Beveridge's post-war coalition government, certainly this idea became popular post-war, Second World War, and it revived Britain for a lot of years and built the estates in the 60s eventually. The health service became quite a reasonable establishment. We are stretched now with the health service, not going into that in this conversation, but certainly there's hope out there, and we should be thinking of new ideas to help us out of the situations that we're in. The governments don't have all the answers. They can try and they can talk about deficits. They don't have all the answers, and that's only natural. These parties are doing their best to actually rule and take the free will that we're giving them and do something with it. So certainly there's no badness there. There might be some politics involved, and that does hurt people at times. But certainly, they are trying their best, but their best doesn't seem to be good enough right now. They do seem to be struggling with policy, they seem to be struggling with strategy, they seem to be struggling with trying to implement everybody with a job, get them into some sort of employment so they can turn the economy around, which is part of the rescue package they're trying to do. There's no way that they can do that before the next election, 2015, I believe it is. There's no way they can do that. It might even be like maybe March, April 2015, the Westminster election. Before that, I have these. I'm not going into these too much either, but you have the referendum in September next year in Scotland. Then a few months later, you have a Scottish election. No guarantee that the SNP, the Scottish National Party, will get in here in Scotland. We actually need a Westminster-based policy that would tell companies to open their doors and there'll be incentives if they do. And everybody should be encouraged in the first instance to try it out and see how it goes, not as a pilot, but just to see how it goes. If it doesn't work, then you can go back to the old system, but there's nothing to lose with this new idea. So that's the idea in jobs. If you have any comments, put something on the wall, talk to me via email. There's an email there. It's thepeoplesbook@gmx.com. There's a website I'm building as well, which will have some of this stuff on it as well. It's in construction at the moment, but certainly will be ready in the next couple of weeks. And anything else, just let me know. So that's me. Thank you very much. I've been Tommy, and I've enjoyed it, and I hope you get a job. Yeah, if you don't have one, tell the companies, open your doors and let us in. I'll make you some money and you can pay us. That'd be the thing to say to them. Good luck with everything, everybody. Thank you very much.